Jimmy's Jam Box. Keep jamming.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jam Box. We're back at it again, and we're going to get on into it. But before we do, as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. With that being said, let's go ahead and get on into it. Here is today's guest.
Hey, what's up? It's Shane Taylor.
Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. Why don't you
you.
tell us a little bit about where you're from, what you do, give us that like Tinder profile of your involvement with music.
Yeah, totally. So, live here in Portland, Oregon. Moved up from California.
Okay. Oh, where at in California?
So born in Berkeley and raised in LA.
Ah, okay. Okay, I'm from outside of San Jose.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, we came up here about 9-10 years ago.
Okay.
And so I feel like I'm a local now.
Yeah. My mom's lived in Washington since I was like 9, so I'm half from here.
Basically a decade, I feel like you're a local.
Exactly. I think that's citizenship rules, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got to be something like that.
Counts for me. Hell yeah. And then what got you into music initially?
So I was in like a punk band, kind of punk
Okay.
reggae ska band growing up.
Okay.
So been involved in music since I was young. My dad played guitar and always loved music. But yeah, when I got a little older and all my friends got jobs, it was kind of harder to get the band together.
Yeah.
So yeah, I started my solo project and never been the best singer. So rapping kind of made a little more sense.
Fair.
But yeah, I've been making music as Shane Taylor for about 8-9 years.
Okay.
I had a different rap name before that, but when I came to Oregon, I kind of rebranded.
Oh, all right.
But yeah, this is kind of the most, the most professional I've been with my music project as far as taking it seriously, like it's a job or a career path.
Hell yeah. Well, we're definitely going to dive into you as the current artist in just a little bit, but let's get a little more of the foundation.
Foundation.
Yeah. Like who were some of your early influences growing up? Like when you were starting to get into music, who kind of lit the fire for you?
So I think my favorite band for the longest time was Sublime.
Okay.
And just like that Southern California reggae rock music. A lot of bands like Dirty Heads and Revolution.
Yeah.
Growing up on that type of vibe. But getting older, definitely like Kid Cudi. And I mean, the original rapper that I was super obsessed with was Eminem. You know, the Slim Shady LP was.
And yet again, y'all, that Eminem is like 50% of the like early mention answers. Like, it's just iconic.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, everybody has to give him respect. Nowadays, people might not like him as much, but
I mean, I think he's allowed to coast at this point. You know what I mean? He's earned it.
Yeah.
He could never do anything again, and I think he'd be fine.
Yeah, he's good. He's good either way.
For him, I think it's just doing it because he likes it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
He's not trying to prove anything at this point.
Yeah. But yeah, always been a lyricist. I wrote the music for the first 2 bands I was in. We used to have a singer besides me, but I would write a lot of the music, the chord progressions, and just the kind of concepts for the songs.
Okay. And was like literature or poetry something you were into when you were younger?
I was in like musical theater and stuff like that in college. So did a couple
like poetic words musically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, always been obsessed with music. My dad took me to see Rolling Stones and U2 and all that, like kind of growing up. So,
and did he play music, or like was music in your family growing up?
Yeah, so he, so I'm actually named after James Taylor, who's an artist, and he used to play guitar, like singer-songwriter type guitar, and that's kind of how I got into it. Yeah,
I used to work with a James Taylor when I worked at Guitar Center.
No way.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun. And then just a couple more foundation questions.
Okay.
What was one of the first albums you ever bought with your own money?
Man, this is embarrassing. Spice Girls.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was younger, I thought it was lame to like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. Like I just didn't like them.
Fair.
And I just thought the Spice Girls were everything. So that was, I think, one of my very first CDs that I ever bought was Spice Girls.
I was a 98 Degrees fan.
98 Degrees. Okay.
Right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I think, they were quality music.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
for real.
They were no S Club 7, but no, I'm kidding.
I mean, that era is, you listen back to it, it's kind of funny, but I still like the Spice Girls to this day.
It was lightly timeless for what it was. Music was a little more carefree back then.
Yes.
Like they were just kind of doing it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And then what was one of the first shows you ever went to? That was like one you wanted to go to. Because I mean, obviously your dad was bringing you to awesome stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I remember this clearly. My mom took me and it was an Offspring concert.
Okay.
And yeah, no, it was insane. I got in the mosh pit. I tried to crowd surf. Yeah, I was like 15 years old.
Oh, hell yeah. Who they play with? Do you remember?
Oh, I don't remember actually.
Okay.
They were headlining, but I'm not sure who the openers were.
I'm sure whoever was supporting them was probably pretty strong.
Yeah, definitely.
Hell yeah. Well, man, I'm a little jealous.
Yeah, Offspring, no.
Hell yeah.
Pretty fly for a white guy. I love that.
And then just to wrap up the beginning story, do you have a moment where you like you decided you wanted music to be more than a hobby? Or is it just like kind of always been around you?
So my mom jokes that when I was in the womb, she could see my mouth moving. And I've always been a big talker, and I think that's just kind of, I had a lot to say.
Mm-hmm.
So once I found music, it was kind of a way to channel that poetry or that expression.
Oh, okay.
But I've always been very expressive and always been trying to, speak my word.
Okay. Now, do you think that translated to like wanting to be in front of people a lot? Or just like, is that just kind of a byproduct of the things you like to do?
Yeah, totally. I mean, since I've been little, I've always been involved in theater classes. And when I lived in LA, I actually did get an agent and ended up doing a couple commercials and short films. And but I've always been passionate about entertainment and kind of just getting up and, putting on a show.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Well, let's go ahead and now let's dive on into you as the main day artist. And I mean, we're going to get the easy one out of the way. How'd you pick your name?
Okay, so this is actually, it's pretty easy. My real name is Shane Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started rapping and wearing chains up here, my girl was like, you should just be Chain Taylor. Like, you're always wearing these chains.
Okay.
And it just sounds very similar. You could say Chain or Shane, and it kind of sounds the same to me.
See, I thought you were going to say because you would say it and everybody would mishear you and think Chain. So
that's happened before too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Hell yeah. And also, I mean, I feel like visual branding is pretty easy to come by with a name like that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, my rap name before that wasn't the greatest. So
what was it?
It's pretty embarrassing.
I'm trying to make it a baked in bit. People say their original names.
Yeah.
What is it?
Acorn Boy. So my dad is arborist. He's a tree man.
Oh, okay.
So growing up, like some of my first memories were like picking up acorns in the woods. And he always was growing. And so that was like kind of a nickname that I had as a child, was Acorn Boy. So when I started doing music originally, that was like I was like, oh, I'm Acorn Boy. Like that's what I'll.
Well, was that your rap name though? Or was that more like indie or like punk or something along those lines?
Yeah, no, that was my first rap name because my first band was called Wasted Days.
Oh, okay.
And then I was in a band called Natural Remedy. And then I started Acorn Boy.
Gotcha. Because I was going to say, if that was like an indie solo project name, that would be pretty on brand, actually. I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
So really, I think this is one of those location type scenarios. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And the music was very different. When I was Acorn Boy, I was rapping, but I was playing guitar at the same time. So it was like a Swayze type, SoCal, not like the rap you hear nowadays.
Yeah. I'm still gonna say it's not the worst first name we've ever heard.
Okay, I'll take it. I will take it.
And then let's go through your writing process. And for this one, we're gonna shake it up a little bit because you happen to be in a little trio called The Pharmacy. And KG was just on the other day. Shout out KG. And so I want to hear a little bit about your writing process, but I also want to hear about like your writing process when it comes to being with the group.
Okay.
Yeah.
So personally, I just write about what I love. Most of my songs are just very personal to me. They're almost like journal entries. My newest song that I'm releasing is called Gorilla Glue. It's a cannabis strain. I've worked in the cannabis industry for 10 years now, so it's something I'm passionate about. But the group is very interesting, and I love the group because we push each other and we're constantly arguing in the studio and kind of telling each other what we think, but we push each other in such a way that it's like, we're always trying to get the best, best case scenario out of all of us.
Yeah.
And it seems like we're fighting, but we're really just like, we're arguing, but it's like none of us really take it personal,
Yeah.
We're trying to get the best product available or the best product possible. And that's what's nice about working with them is we kind of push each other to do that.
Yeah. And I think especially when it comes to a room full of people who are passionate about their projects, like you're almost not supposed to agree.
Yeah.
Like uncertain, you know what I mean? I think the resistance, because then you're either going to fight for your point to where everybody's going to listen. They're going to be like, all right, this is an important one. Let's actually like flesh it out.
Yeah.
Or the resistance is going to go, oh, well, actually, yeah, it's not that worth it. Let's move on to the next thing.
Exactly.
And collaborative efforts are so important. Like, don't get me wrong, as the individual musician, it's important to grow yourself, but interacting with other people is how music really grows.
Yeah.
Like,
totally. If you're open-minded too, like I've thought that I was right, and then they'll say something, I'm like, oh, that's
yeah,
I agree.
Well, even then in the realm of creation, it doesn't always have to even be a right and wrong. It can just be like a feeling.
But if someone makes a good point, it's like nice to have that open mind to be like, wow, that was a great point, and not just be so stuck in your ways.
Exactly. You don't always have to do just what you're thinking. Sometimes it could be something different.
Totally.
I remember, I got to get better at remembering these little mentions from other episodes, but there was an episode where it was a band where they were talking about, they were writing a song and two of the members loved this song. They especially loved this one part in this song. The rest of the band wasn't vibing, but they really so every time they would play this part, the two guys like had a quiet pact to go as hard as possible during that part. Mm-hmm. So the other two members of the band were just like, well, I don't love this, but I'm feeling it. And they just kept doing that until the guys fell in love with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you put that energy and that vibe into it, most of the time it'll change people's mind.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And then kind of going back to your presence on making music, how long does it usually take you to get to the point where you feel like you're comfortable performing a song?
I mean, it's so different each time because some songs I'll write and they'll just come out and, I'll write it almost like it was a freestyle. Mm-hmm. It'll just come out and boom. And other songs, it'll take months, even years for me to finish.
Yeah.
But I am terrible. All of my bandmates always know me for forgetting lyrics on stage and I'm just the worst. Maybe it is because of my cannabis use. That might be it. But even one of our last shows, I forgot some lyrics and right when we got off stage, they're like, bro, like what happened? And, that's just how it is. Sometimes as an artist, you forget lyrics.
I mean, James Hetfield forgot the words to Ride the Lightning once.
Yeah.
And he did it on, if you go and watch the Binge and Purge box set, it's the one where they're in Mexico, I think. But literally in the middle of the song, he's like, I forgot the fucking word. Yeah. Like just into the mic. Everybody was like, all right.
Yeah, sometimes you forget the words. You just freestyle, keep it going, keep the energy up. Most of the time, people will not even know.
Exactly. Exactly. As long as you don't drop the momentum.
Yeah.
A lot of times it just goes unnoticed.
If you have the expression in your face, like.
Yeah. They're watching you.
I forgot but if you just keep it going and, usually it'll pop back into your head eventually.
The even less mentioned thing I think is that if you do like make a mistake and people do notice, like you said, they're looking at you.
Yeah.
So if you just let it roll off and keep vibing like it didn't happen, nobody's going to be bothered. Nobody's going to be tweeting afterwards, be like, remember that one moment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I saw Travis Scott last night and, he's playing his music and he's not singing every single lyric all the time. Sometimes he's just doing his own ad-libs and he's just hyping the crowd.
Oh, dude, the dude was going wild though.
Seriously.
Dude was going, that stage, like if you can call it that, like you kind of can't.
It was like a volcano.
Yeah, yeah. It looked like from what I saw, it looked like a low-key like monster truck.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
That's what it felt like. It felt like being at a monster truck rally.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I mean, it was huge.
Yeah.
It was such a, like, again, for what I saw, I did not get to go, but from what I saw, it just seemed like such a different experience.
It was next level, very inspirational to go and see something like that.
Oh yeah.
You see one guy controlling an entire stadium and keeping everybody like locked on the edge of their seat. Very inspirational.
That was like when I watched, I remember Tyler, the Creator, streamed when he was headlining, I think it was Lollapalooza. And I have never seen another performance like that, man. Like the outfit changes, the scene changes, the like way he moves from music to music, the fact that he could just be like, all right, I want to play new stuff. All right, fuck it, we're going back to old stuff. Like just his roller coaster of music and like the way he like almost tells a story through his performance.
Yeah.
That just, it's some next level stuff.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think as an artist, you do need to be looking up to people and not just focused on your own music all the time.
No.
Like, get inspired by bigger artists or other artists in general.
Yeah. And not even because you have to do what they're doing specifically, but to know that there's a next level. There's so much more to do. Any idea you have, it's literally achievable within, the realms of physicality.
Totally.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the way to be. You want to always be surrounding yourself with better artists, smarter people, successful people, just so you can learn.
I would say inspirational people.
Yeah. Because
I know a handful of people. I know some of the most talented musicians I know. They're just good. Like, they don't do anything with it. They love the act.
Yes.
But they were some of the people I learned some of the most from musically, because they were not encumbered by the act of presenting. They just lived within it. And now they had some approaches that were very much their own, because they did not exist in that outward realm in the same way.
Yeah.
But they were inspirational. So
there's different styles to it. I've got friends that are just insanely talented, but they don't do shows.
Yeah.
They don't like the performing side of it. They're amazing recording artists and phenomenal, just super talented. But when you go to a show, they're just, they're not wanting to go 100%.
Performance is scary for some people. You know what I mean?
It can be.
Yeah.
It can be, yeah.
And even for the people who it's not, there's some instances where it's overwhelming for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I could, I understand that part of it.
And it just takes practice, I still get nervous before every performance, but it's like, after you do it enough times, it's almost like a muscle memory type thing.
It's true. Like, kind of give a literally real world example. When I first started doing this, I had never been in front of a camera. I had never been main person on a mic. Like, I had never been a front person ever. So like, I was fortunate enough to have, a couple hundred episodes where it was audio only. So I kind of got the time learning the spoken aspect without the eyes on me. But when I first moved into the camera stuff, it was like, there's a thing looking at me.
Yeah.
But over time, I got comfortable. I would adjust it to where it's like out of sight. That's why the angles are filmed the way they are, little insider baseball for y'all.
I was going to say, well, you're doing a great job.
Thank you. But this is my show, but we're here to talk about you. So let's get back into it.
Yeah.
And for this next one, this is a fun one. Actually, I've asked this question more recently, and I'm really enjoying the answer. What is something you enjoy about your sound?
That's a good question. Okay. Well, I think there's a time and place for all music. So sometimes I don't like to listen to my music in the morning. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But my music is perfect for like, the club, the nighttime feeling. Like, you wouldn't wake up and listen to like Travis Scott in the morning. You know what I'm saying? So my music has a similar feel where I feel like when I listen to it, it's like workout music. Like, it gets me going. So yeah, it's inspirational for me when I hear my songs. A lot of my lyrics just speak my truth. And a lot of times what I say in my songs are like goals of mine or aspirations or things that I'm kind of working on. So it's like a mantra. And I do believe that, what you speak kind of comes true, and what you think, you can manifest things with music and certain rituals like that. So kind of treat my music like that, where I am kind of speaking my destiny or speaking what I want to happen. So that's what I think is most enjoyable for me, is kind of repeating those words and remembering what I want. And it's a way to kind of remind me where I'm going.
Hell yeah. I love that answer. And then we've talked about you as the musician. We've talked about a lot of the music things you're doing here, but you also, you host an event in the area, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and tell us about it? I believe it's the Flow Show.
The Flow Show.
Yeah, tell us all about that.
Yeah, I'm really proud of the Flow Show. So when I first moved to Portland, I could not get booked. I was just having such a hard time getting shows. And, there's a few open mic nights. Shout out Late Lyrics. They put me on. That was one of the very first shows that I did here. But eventually I was craving more, and I wanted a place for artists like me who weren't getting booked, that had an opportunity to get on the microphone. So we do 20 artists a month. Each artist gets 2 songs, and we donate all the money to Portland's Food Pantry.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's a way for the artists to come together, share their music, and also do something good for the community.
Hell yeah. I love that. And how can people, when is it usually happening?
It happens once a month, and I did it for 2.5 years. And then just last month, I said I'm going to take a 2-month break.
Okay.
Just for November and December.
You know
I've been kind of running myself a little bit into the wall. So I just wanted to take a small break, and we're going to start over in the new year. I'm looking for a new venue. I'm trying to do something bigger and better than I've done.
Hell yeah. Coincidentally, the Jambox is kind of in the same arc right now with my audio engineer leaving.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's no more music for November and December, but come first quarter 2024, y'all. Look forward to it. All right, but thank you for sharing that. Definitely, and we'll have you plug all of it at the end so everybody knows how to find all of that stuff.
Okay, cool.
But tell us a little bit about, we're always asking questions that are music related, but tell us a little bit about your business.
Okay, so when I moved to Oregon, I think cannabis had just become legal up here, or within a year or two of me moving here. And I've worked in dispensaries for almost 15 years now. When I lived in LA, I worked at a dispensary down there, but just been passionate about cannabis my whole life. I know that sounds funny to some people because they're like, "Oh, you're passionate about cannabis. You're a stoner."
I mean, it makes sense given your dad's profession.
Yeah, exactly. No, very into nature and growing, but beyond that, the healing aspect of it, the other cannabinoids like CBD and CBG. So that's what we did. We just started a CBD tea company.
Oh, okay.
So it's like chamomile tea with CBD. So it's like a nighttime thing. But the thing about it is most people, especially people that don't smoke cannabis, they want the therapeutic effects from the plant without the psychoactive high. So we created a product that you can get that anti-inflammatory effect without having to be, inebriated.
Interesting. Well, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's been a fun journey. And it's, this is a quote I always like to say because when I was in high school, I used to sell weed. And my mom used to always say...
Allegedly.
But she used to always say, you can't sell weed for the rest of your life, Shane. And then nowadays I say, look at me now, Mom.
Just call her every day. You're like, guess what I'm still doing? Allegedly.
Yeah. No, well, it's legal now. And for a long time, cannabis users were put in this box of cocaine and heroin, all these heavy drugs. But, we're coming out into the light now and we're legitimate business owners. We don't have to be nervous about saying, talking about cannabis anymore.
Yeah.
But there is that stereotype there, that kind of taboo around cannabis.
Oh, I mean, I don't think that's going to go away for a while, unfortunately, just given the narrative. I mean, unfortunately, I think we're going to have to grow one more generation and kind of see that cycle continue before we really get to know, life without the stigma. Cause it's always going to be stigmatized a little bit, just like, smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol is, because it lives in that realm to a degree.
Yeah.
But there also aren't as many uses for like nicotine and alcohol like there are for things like CBD and just the realm.
Yeah, I mean, you could break it down too. The same people that are judging me for cannabis are drinking Starbucks and eating McDonald's and doing all of these other things that are...
Let's not go down the rabbit hole of what we put in food we sell at the grocery store. But
that's what I'm saying is when we're talking about these type of things that are technically, they think are bad for us, I'm just like, well, let's look at the actual, ingredients and what most people deem as okay.
Yeah.
And so, but it's been a nice journey. My brother and I started the company.
Oh, that's cool.
We were able to hire on family members, hire on, spouses and things like that. We've got about 10 employees now, and we've got a warehouse in Southeast Portland.
Oh, exciting.
But we ship all over the world. You can find us on thebrothers-apothecary.com.
Hell yeah. Well, if y'all are ever looking to sponsor a show,
I would love to sponsor a show.
Hell yeah.
We get some little tea in here, have people drinking tea.
Yeah, I mean, if they consent to it, of course. But yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, we do CBD and non-CBD. We consider ourselves like a wellness company first.
Okay.
And then we add CBD into like some stuff.
Oh,
but we do like turmeric capsules. We do super greens, matcha. Like we have a ton of different stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, hell yeah. All right, and then we've got one last question to go for like the you-focused questions.
Okay.
And this one's kind of a denser question. But we've talked a lot about like what music gives to you. We talked about like things that happen because of music and like the aspects all around it. But what is it about the process of making music? Like when it's you and the music one-on-one, what is it about the process that you enjoy the most?
Well, I'm constantly surrounded by people. I'm married, I'm in a group, I work with 10 other people. So a lot of times music is like my me space.
Gotcha.
And that's like kind of my alone time. And it's something I really don't take much advice or, criticism on. Like with the group, I'll take what they have to say, or in my marriage, I'll, obviously listen to what my wife has to say.
Yeah.
But in my personal project, I write whatever I want. It's a freedom of expression that nobody has any say over. So it's a very independent, nice place for me because it is somewhere I can express myself and kind of talk about things that I'm going through in my life and just feel like that kind of therapeutic release from talking about what I got going on.
Hell yeah. All right, now let's go ahead and let's move on to some hypothetical questions.
Okay.
And these are all literally sky's the limits. There are no wrong answers because they're all made up. But this first one's a pretty straightforward one. If you could work with any one person in any capacity, they just have to be alive, who would you work with and how would you want to work with them?
Wow. Okay. There's a lot. I think obviously the forefront of my mind is Travis Scott because I just saw him last night. Yeah, that's really difficult. There's a lot, and I guess it would really depend on the song, but I would say, Travis Scott.
Okay.
Just because I want to create music that people jump around to and get excited about. And I've never been to a concert where every single person in the stands is just raging.
Mm-hmm.
Normally it's like the general admission. You see them kind of going crazy.
And then everybody in the seats are just like, well, we're here to sit and watch.
But like this concert was just mind blowing because everybody.
Yeah, you almost didn't have a choice.
No. Actually, the funny thing was he was walking around and he was pointing at people that were sitting down. He was like, "Yo, get up." I was like, this is amazing. Like this guy is pushing you to, and some people say his music is like whatever, devil worshiper stuff. And he had that whole,
I mean, so was Pink Floyd, right?
But AC/DC, all these original bands. But when I went there and I listened to what he was saying and I felt the vibe, it was love. Everybody was picking each other up when they were falling and everyone was having a great time. There was no negative vibes.
The weird upside and downside to music being open to entirely interpretation is that it will always be open entirely to interpretation.
Yeah.
So for the people who want to find the bad in it, they'll always find the bad in it. People who want to find the good in it, they'll always find the good in it. I mean, you can listen to like an old country song, and if it's about drugs, you can say it's about drugs, or you could say it's about a man struggling. Like, you know what I mean? Like, both things can be true. But what you take away from it can only be your own interpretation ever.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
I totally feel that.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, I agree with you. I think that's 90% of the time, that's what music is. You know what I mean? It's a form of expression, and then it's an opportunity to share.
Exactly.
Like, and there's nothing like being on stage.
Oh, no, it's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I don't care if it's 10 people or 1,000 people. Like, well, I guess 1,000, that's only 1,000 people. Or 10,000 people. There we go. There's this weird connection that happens, like where it can happen with everybody all at once. It's not like reading is different. Literature is different. Painting, like visual art is, its own way. It's in its own expressions, but music just latches on to a group of people at one time.
Yeah.
It's one of the only forms of art that can command movement.
I mean, when you think about it down to its like almost molecular level, everything is vibration.
Oh, yeah.
So when you have these beautiful frequencies or these like melodic lyrics, like it's almost a form of mind control for these, you can go to these concerts and be entranced.
Well, there's a whole study on like the interaction between like sound and like heart rates and like body movements, and also even down to a vibration level. There's a way that certain sounds, like when we perceive them at tempos, they physically adjust our parameters in subtle ways that make a difference.
Completely.
Yeah. And that's why like sound healing and stuff like that it's very prominent and actually effective in certain respects.
Yeah. I mean, that is kind of you asked me how we got Chain Taylor, but the pharmacy, we created that name because we believe music is medicine. It's therapeutic for the writer, but it's also therapeutic for the listener.
Exactly.
So it is a medicinal type thing. It's a sound healing.
Exactly. All right, but we're getting really deep for these hypothetical questions, and I love it. I love it. But this next one is very straightforward.
Okay.
We just talked about if you could work with anybody in the world. Now, subsequently, who's a local artist that you're aware of that you haven't gotten to connect with yet, but you would like to?
Oh, I've got a few of them. I really love Yellow Trash Can.
Hell yeah.
They're one of the dopest. Yeah, they're one of the dopest Portland bands. Jit and Jason are both phenomenal musicians. We record most of our music at Burn Money.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, super impressed by those guys. Obviously, there's a few others. Lambo Lawson, Bird Bennett, Dante Thomas, Boca. I mean, I could go on. There's a lot of talent here in Portland.
Well, it's cool that there's a lot of names of people you want to work with. It's surprising me how many people are like, oh, I've kind of worked with everybody. I'm like, but there's so many people.
Yeah.
There's so many people. If you've worked with everybody, you should be meeting new people you haven't worked with.
Totally.
So I appreciate that you have a list of people you want to be working with, because that's how you stay hungry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've gotten some pretty cool collabs. I've worked with Soul Luna,
hell yeah.
Roulette Delgado. So I've had a couple good features since I've been here. But yeah, there's a lot of great artists here. So I'm still looking to get more features and continue to kind of like collab with the local artists.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right. And then for this next one, then this one literally sky's the limits.
Okay.
But if you could perform anywhere in the world, and you don't have to worry about crowd access or power or building stability, guaranteed best show, and it doesn't have to be a venue even. But if you could perform anywhere, where would you want to perform?
The pyramids in Egypt.
Okay. Like inside them, outside on top of them, just in the same nearby?
I'm like obsessed with Ancient Aliens. So I'm always watching that show, and I just think, it's funny I'm bringing him up again, but Travis Scott tried to do a show at the pyramids. It got canceled. But when I saw that, I was like, man, that'd be such a crazy concert to be like at some huge monolithic structure in the desert, be able to perform out there. I think that would be sick. Or any pyramid, to be honest. Yeah. Egyptian pyramid, Mayan pyramid, on the top of a pyramid. I think that's where I would choose.
Hell yeah.
Hopefully the aliens would come. They would check it out.
Hell yeah. All right. And then to wrap it up, if you could get an album from somebody who's either not making music anymore or isn't around anymore, this one, literally anybody. But if you could get an album from one more person or artist or music experience, who would you want an album from?
An album from... That's tough. The first one that comes to mind is like Bob Marley or something like that. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's difficult. I mean, Sublime too. He died too young. Man, I always feel like when I get these questions, I just blank in my mind.
That's fine.
Okay, no, I got my answer. Here it is. And I actually, because I don't usually get too caught up in celebrity. If I met a celebrity, I wouldn't be, freaking out or anything.
Be fangirling over it.
Mac Miller, when he passed, I just bawled my eyes out. He was like my biggest inspiration growing up, and probably besides Eminem. But Mac Miller definitely needed another album.
Hell yeah. No, that's a solid answer. I've been struggling with answers for this question, but I finally thought of one, so I'm going to take the opportunity to say it before I forget it.
Yeah.
Back in the day, and this is a deep cut, but back in the day, they were working on a Beatles album that was performed entirely by comedians.
Comedian?
Yeah, like Robin Williams did one, but it's super hard to find. Jim Carrey did a cover of I Am the Walrus, and it's not just good. It's incredible.
Yeah, he can sing.
I can't stress. I Am the Walrus is such a bizarre song. Like, totally. It has so much range and expression in it, and he uses 110% of his abilities to make the song entire. Like, I would go on a limb and say I enjoy his version of it the most.
I have to find that.
Yeah. Well, when you watch this now, you'll have it here for next time. It's on you. It's very easy to find. Just Jim Carrey's I Am the Walrus. It's incredible.
That sounds amazing. Yeah. I'm like the biggest Jim Carrey fan too. So.
You're going to love this. But I wish that album would have come, because it never came out.
Yeah.
Those are the only, I only even know of the Robin Williams one. I don't know if I've ever officially heard it, but those are the only two I know of exist that came from the concept.
Yeah.
But they were doing it with the San Francisco Orchestra. It was supposed to be a thing.
Yeah.
So just, if anybody knows whoever was working on that, let's get those cuts, shall we?
Get that out.
Hell yeah. All right, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to start wrapping this up. Why don't you tell us what you have coming up in the future? Say end of the year, first quarter of 2024.
Okay, well, I got new music dropping. I got a brand new song, Gorilla Glue, that's dropping later this week, actually.
So it'll probably come out by the time this does.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And then I've got a music video I just shot with the group Pharmacy called In That Mood. That'll probably be dropping probably in December,
Hell yeah.
hoping.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, got more shows coming, constantly trying to be working with other artists, and you will definitely hear more from me.
Hell yeah. Well, why don't you go ahead and for this next one, look at the camera and tell everybody how they can find you.
What's up? This is Chain Taylor. You can find me at Chain Taylor on Instagram, Chain Taylor on YouTube, Chain Taylor on Facebook. Come find me and leave a comment. Follow me. I'll follow back. Peace.
Hell yeah. And then any other plugs, any other shout outs, anybody else you want to put on while you're on here?
Definitely my boy KG King and Jedi, the two other members of the Pharmacy.
Yes, sir.
And Alana Rich. She's the biggest pop artist, beautiful pop artist here in Portland, Oregon. And yeah, just shout out all the people that are doing their thing here, putting on for local artists and putting on for the scene.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right, we've got one last question to go. But before we do, I'm going to steal the camera for just a second. As always, y'all, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And with that being said, the final question. And this is entirely up to your interpretation. But what is a song that you think everybody should know?
Let's do a Beatles one. I think it should be Let It Be, because that's just such a good vibe song, and it's just like a de-stress type song. Just let it be.
I'm going to go on a limb and say majority of people know that song.
Oh, you're saying
like I'm saying like what's a song that maybe not everybody would?
Oh,
like,
not everybody.
Let's do a little more deep cut. That is a good answer. You gave a great answer.
I thought you meant like okay.
No, your answer is correct.
That is correct, but most people do know that song.
I imagine that's probably a pretty popular song.
So you want like a hidden gem?
Well, yeah, like for me, like the answer, I just did this on KG's episode, so this isn't deep enough yet. But for me, it Feels Like Summer by Childish Gambino. Like that's a song I wish everybody knew.
Yeah, I love that song too.
Yeah, because it hits different.
Okay, this is a good one, and this is one I guarantee you nobody, well maybe not nobody, but most people do not know.
Okay,
Lil B, Age of Information.
Oh.
It's this awesome song about how he's talking about how technology is like dumbing down people. And it's crazy because Lil B's such like an ignorant artist. He's just like, you know, most of the time just talking about the craziest stuff. But this one song, he's saying some like insane stuff. And Age of Information, Lil B.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right, we're going to go ahead and get up on out of here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, this has been
Appreciate
another... Thank you. This has been another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jam Box. I'm Jimmy.
I'm Chain.
And we're signing off. Later, y'all.
That's a wrap. This is not a podcast. This is a show. Keep jamming.